Oh, that's going to be a problem. Let me put the dogs downstairs.
Here we go. Good day. I'm Fred Phillips, and I welcome you to the first TANDO mini debate. The series will examine both sides, or more sides if there are more, of a number of topics in technology transfer and entrepreneurship ethics. Today's topic is grow fast and break things. Arguing for the proposition is Lynne M. Schneider. Lynne is co-author of 5 books, including Knowledge Economics and Business Process Engineering. She served as the Deputy Director for the Defense Business Board during the Bush administration, providing advice to the Secretary of Defense on best practices and critical business management issues. Having served 3 tours in Iraq, Lynne is currently holding the position of Senior Advisor as a highly qualified expert in the area of transformation and enterprise architectures with the Office of the Secretary of Defense, and she has been in the U.S. Army Reserve for 32 years. Arguing against is Professor James Galbraith of the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas at Austin. He was Executive Director of the Joint Economic Committee of the United States Congress in the early 1980s. From 1993 to 1997, he served as Chief Technical Advisor to China's State Planning Commission for Macroeconomic Reform. In 2016, he advised the presidential campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders. Jamie's books include The Predator State: How Conservatives Abandoned the Free Market and Why Liberals Should Too, and Balancing Acts: Technology, Finance, and the American Future. In 2014, he was co-winner of the Leontief Prize for advancing the frontiers of economics. Grow fast and break things has been the mantra of startup investors. It has encouraged entrepreneurs to charge ahead. It has helped startups to dominate new markets. Ventures like Uber have brought increased convenience and security to many. And as we've just seen, Robinhood encourages many more to invest for the future. Yet Uber's fast growth has increased traffic congestion and exploited gig workers. Airbnb brings crowding, crime, and commotion to city districts not zoned for hospitality business. Both ignore laws and permitting procedures. Robinhood grew fast by making trades free to users, but recoups cost by selling the trade information instantly to large brokers. In these ways, the grow fast and break things mantra has contributed to congressional and other backlashes against tech industries. Are the investors correct? Ordinances and regulations haven't changed to address the new world of technology. And if so, are they right to force the matter by charging ahead in disregard of said rules? We'll hear from Lynne Schneider first. About 2 minutes, please, Lynne.
Okay, thank you. So first, I'd like to start by saying thank you to Dr. Phillips and Dr. Galbraith for the opportunity to share both my thoughts and experiences and examples of the move fast and break things mantra, although I personally believe that there is a time for moving fast and also a time for moving slow. So there are also there are some more recent examples, of course, of organizations such as Facebook, Twitter, and Amazon who have had this model, move fast and break things, until they cornered the market, and then they wanted people to slow down. So it became more of a matter of controlling the market space, which we can go into later on. However, one note, I now see ads from Facebook saying that the law that governs the space that they're in, social networking and so on, is more than 30 years old and needs to be updated. So really, it's about innovation entrepreneurship outstripping the ability I see of governance, of the governance structure, or in this case, Congress and the feds, to keep up with the changing times. So it's kind of like two sides of the same coin. Another example is that during the Iraq War, many of our military were being killed and maimed in our vehicles, which were unable to withstand the impact of in-ground, bombs or EFPs. EFPs are explosively formed projectiles, where in the ground or on the roadside, they would plant these bombs and then it would blow up our Humvees. And soldiers would be injured or killed. And EFPs were far more dangerous than the rest of them. So they were usually planted at, say, waist level or in a wall, hidden in some other place that could be triggered to go off when a target was in what we call the kill distance. So EFPs would become a molten mass projectile melting through the metal that we had of our vehicles and destroying everything inside the vehicles, including our soldiers. So then Defense Secretary Bob Gates, having read about the new armored vehicles with a V-shaped hull that were able to deflect blasts, saving Marines in Iraq, set out to try to acquire the vehicle in mass in 2007. He was surprised to find out there were several attempts to move the MRAP program forward, but bureaucracy got in the way. So according to his memoir, In Duty, to get the MRAP or the mine-resistant ambush protected vehicles to the warfighter, it took the Pentagon leader to move the program forward quickly by declaring it the highest priority for acquisition. And the program became the first major military acquisition to go from decision to buy to production in less than a year since World War II. They told him at first it was going to take 7 years. He said, I don't have 7 years, right? I have soldiers dying now. So he garnered the funding and support from Congress and moved out quickly, building thousands of vehicles and getting them fielded in record time. Instead of waiting for the perfect vehicle, the MRAP was upgraded and improved to be lighter and more maneuverable in a few short years to follow. So this was, to me, an example of moving fast, right? Personal experience that I have also is in 1993, I worked really hard with some people to develop the government performance, what later became the Government's Performance and Results Act. Nobody wanted to do it. It was pushed off to the side. They are moving really, really slowly and implementing it. It's 2021. It's standard practice for things like private industry, General Motors or GE or Disney. I mean, people, these large corporations, even small ones, have a strategic plan with goals and performance measures. Well, the department is still, well, mostly across the whole federal government, but I'm speaking from the Defense Department, they're still not fully have not fully implemented that process. So there are challenges with planning and programming and budgeting. We continue to face those today. That's something that I would like to see that needs to go fast and break things, because it's been more than 20, almost 30 years, really 25 years to get into place. And it's just, it's not necessary. So I came back into the department in 2007 after I'd left in 1997, excuse me. And what happened was we were still working on things that I had started back in 1997. I left again, came back in 2019 and was put in charge to implement some of the things that I had started in 1996. So I'm all for moving fast and breaking things when it's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Now we will hear the rebuttal from Dr. Galbraith. Jamie, over to you.
Thanks very much. The slogan, "Go fast and break things," is a new expression of an old idea, most famously stated as creative destruction by Joseph Schumpeter back in 1942. Before that, by Herbert Spencer's survival of the fittest, and even more anciently in the aphorism, "Devil take the hindmost." My distinguished sparring partner defends the slogan partly as a matter of business ethics and partly, as she said, on the questions of warfare, where it may well have a place. But I wish to place it here in an even larger context, which is that of nation states and global superpowers. Russia, in the early 1990s, freed from the dead hand of the USSR, it went fast and broke things and tried to set up a free market economy, essentially from a standing start in no time. The result was epic social and human collapse, which cost millions of lives, many more millions of livelihoods, and forever alienated most Russians from the siren songs of Western economists and business consultants. China took a different route. Its alternative was not to go slow. It was to go, let's say, reasonably fast, moderately fast, but not to break too many things all at once. The dictum from Deng Xiaoping was to cross the river by feeling for the stones. New things were built, but on foundations including public health, literacy, infrastructure, public lands, for which foundations had in fact already been laid. It was done reasonably carefully. It was done more or less right. And the rise of China, whether one likes it or not, is there for anyone to see. And finally, since I can't resist, I'm here in Texas. Our electricity market was a perfect case of go fast and break things when it was set up as a free market system back in 2002. And a lot of things broke here this week. And one of them was that idea. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you for these very incisive remarks. Audience, what do you think? Use the comment facility to tell us which side convinces you and why. And thank you for joining us today.